I wanna be the very the best there ever was. Dun, dun, dun. To catch Pokemon is my true test. To train them was my cause. Pokemon! Okay, so that's all the singing you're gonna get out of me today, but I do want to tell you I am back. I have found the passion, I have regained my true cause in this world, and if you haven't guessed it already, it's Pokemon. Now, Pokemon is something that I grew up on. I mean, I was like 8 when I had my Game Boy with Pokemon Red, talking to all my friends about it. It was a huge thing, and obviously it's still huge. I think it's the number one franchise like of all time. Recently, they came out with a 151 series. That's basically like a nod to the older cards, and everything in that set is like kind of updated of the older Pokemon with like the different types of rarities of cards. So my wife and I decided to dip into it, and I realized right away it's way more complex, way more competitive than I thought. And I thought, you know what better way than to feed my addiction, to feed a passion I've had as a child through the years, now that I am a fully grown adult man, believe it or not, I have the expendable income to buy some Pokemon cards. Now, of course, I'm very frugal. I was a reseller for a long time. I still resell some. I mean, I do product reviews on things. That is like my main job now. And I do a couple other things to make money, but I have time to do eBay again. Now, I was not sure if I was going to get back into hard goods or try to do the clothes. I lost the passion for selling the clothes. I just did. It was no longer fun to me. It was very laborious. Now I have realized that I do have a passion. I have a hobby for Pokemon cards. They're tremendous. They look great. It's very exciting to open it. It's not quite like the gambler addiction of like scratch offs. I mean, I know a lot of people relate it to that. It's a gamble. You're wasting money. You're trying to pull the best Charizard or whatever card is the chase card or the best card of that set. I see it more as like the Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory type of situation. So, Willy Wonka was the guy that made the chocolate factory, and that little kid, Charlie, I think his name was, who had a bunch of missing teeth. He found that one chocolate bar with the golden ticket, and he was able to go to the chocolate factory and see the Oompa Loompas and fly in that elevator thing that crashed through the ceiling, whatever that was. I want that feeling over and over again, but it's expensive. Pokemon cards are at an all-time high. I mean, the COVID era brought in sports cards and Pokemon even crazier, and now it's practically like, I mean, someone like me who's never been into Pokemon since childhood is now spending hundreds of dollars. Now, I've only spent like a few $100s on Pokemon cards, and I've just come to realize that if you go on Amazon to buy them, or if you go through TCG or any of these different places that sell them, they're higher than MSRP. It's similar to buying a car. It's very hard to buy a car at MSRP because the dealerships mark them up to make their money, and that's just how Pokemon is. The trick is to obviously get a distribution line set up, but as far as English cards, it's just really not something that's that feasible. So I have developed some plans. It's not completely fleshed out how I'm going to do this, but I think I'm just going to start reselling certain cards, maybe do bulk lots, maybe find a way to get either like vintage cards or cards that I definitely missed out on. I mean, the original base set series, I don't have any of those cards from childhood. They are gone. I remember leaving them at a friend's house and it just disappeared. And you never know what happens when you're a kid and you think everything that you're doing at that moment in time is going to last forever, and then you grow up. Similar to business, you think you're doing the same thing over and over again, and usually that works for a little bit of time, and then eventually the money starts going down and you need to shift. So I had to shift away from selling clothes. I now have plenty of money doing other stuff, and now I have time to focus on Pokemon. So what are some of the things I'm going to do? Well, I actually am meeting with somebody on Friday. I consider him a pretty decent friend, and he's going to sell me some of his Pokemon cards, hopefully. He has some binders of Pokemon, and he's into Magic the Gathering, so like I'm going to get first dib look at his cards before he takes them to the card shop. And now that kind of brings me back to, what is the best way to resell product? Now, I'm not going to run to Costco and do the retail arbitrage. I mean, I was lucky to find some Prismatic Evolution I think they're called, it's the 2 packs. I don't know if they're called blisters. I think so. Whatever it is, I was able to get some at Walmart for MSRP. That's right when they stock. And I told a couple of the people I know that are into Pokemon about it, and by the time they got there, it was gone. I was not going to be the guy to buy all 12 off the shelf. I know a lot of people are doing retail arbitrage. It's called, like, some people call that scalping or whatever. I think that's the wrong way to do it. I don't like that. I mean, I know some of you make a ton of money doing it. I don't think it's right. I think it deprives the standard person going to buy it. Now, I consider myself still like in the collector phase. Now, I'm going to resell duplicates. I'm going to resell things that I don't necessarily want. Maybe there's certain sets I just don't want any of. And I'm going to try to like feed my addiction to like buy like the stuff that I do want. But getting back to getting those binders and hopefully making a good deal with him, if you tell people what you're into, they will tell you what they got. So there was a time when I was reselling in the very beginning that I was passing out business cards at garage sales. And of course, I was looking for video games, anything expensive pretty much. It's like hard to say, hey, I want your most expensive thing for very little because I know you don't use it anymore. So I would tell them I want video games and I'd leave a card. Well, somebody called me 6 months later and sold me like, I think it was $300 or $400. I think it was $300, and it was a ton of like N64 games, then 64 inbox, all this stuff that I made. I think about $2,000, $2,000, something like that. And I'm gonna do the same strategy with Pokemon cards and video games again because I do remember when I first started reselling, the best thing to resell was video games and Pokemon. Now, can you make a six-figure reselling business doing that? Yeah, you can, but it's very difficult. Now, can I fuel my addiction for Pokemon? Yes, I think I can. I think I can kind of source video games, Pokemon, and I can trade certain things for other things to get more Pokemon. Now, the goal my wife and I have is we want to create master sets. So master set is basically one of each card for the set that comes out. So like the Pokemon 151, it's got the Mew on the box. I think it has like 200 something cards. I don't know exactly. We started our binder and started putting them in there, but we're buying packs and ripping them. So that's usually not the best way to fill out the set. It's probably the most expensive way. But I like making content on that. I got my TikTok, which I'm going to start putting more Pokemon on because it's super hot and a lot of people are into it, and it's super exciting. I mean, it's very easy to make a 30-second video like pack ripping, pulling out something cool, and you just never know what you're going to get. That's the whole joy of it. It's the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory effect of trying to get that golden ticket, and it's not only like valuable, but different from like a scratch off. You don't just throw it away if you don't get the good cards. Like some people do that, but I am more for like I want to complete the set. So if I have duplicates, I'll have like a trade binder, a duplicate binder where I'll take it and you can trade. That's the other thing too. I like talking to people. You can trade cards at conventions, at trade shows, and you can just have a lot of fun. A lot of people that are into it have that same like childhood passion for it, and it's kind of rare to see that nowadays. I have not been this excited for something product-wise in a very long time. Now I upgraded my truck. I bought some products for that, and they're amazing. Like, I mean, I've probably spent $3,000 on the truck in the last 2 months, and I love it. I understand why people get into souping up their cars and making their trucks bigger and louder. Like, I get it. I never had the money to do it before. And if you don't have the money to do any of this stuff, like, go back to basics and like kind of, they say grind, basically try to find the stuff undervalued and sell it for a little bit of money until you have enough money to make bigger plays. And that's kind of how you snowball this thing. But I did miss making content. I miss talking to you guys, but I just didn't want to talk about clothes anymore. And I didn't know how to get back into it. I didn't know how to like create an eBay store selling like, you go and you find, I don't know, like a margarita machine. Maybe you get it for $20 and it sells for 200, and you're like, well, that's a good flip. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that at all. I thought it would be cool to catch it on camera, but now I think because hunting Pokemon is much like the game where you're trying to collect all the Pokemon and you're trying to like get better and train, collecting the cards is very similar. Like each little card is kind of special. So yeah, it's going to be something that I'm going to incorporate into the channel. If you guys are into that, make sure to follow along. If you're not, I get it. I get it. I've reverted back from like professional Sean that sells a lot of clothes to like guy who's about to be getting into Pokemon, like really into Pokemon. I was talking to my wife about like, should we open a card shop? Like, I was like, should we do something like that? And she said no. And if I couldn't get her on board to actually like potentially down the line like see herself or my son like working it, if they're not like into it like that, then I'm not going to force that upon them. But if she wants to get down with sorting the cards after I like find the collections and like, because she's really into organizing and like looking at the cards, and I like looking at them too, but I'm more for like acquiring them at a good price. I'm more for like maybe getting some graded that are like super valuable because they are investment pieces. Like, it's kind of like an alternate investment from the stock market. And yeah, it's great to max out a Roth IRA and to put money into different stocks, and maybe people dabble in crypto. I just think that stuff's kind of boring. Like, I like actually seeing the cards. I like the physical thing of having the slab and then showing it off to people. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you go to a show and you have like a cool slab and then you see what they got, and then maybe y'all make a deal, or you just admire each other's collections, because in the end, it's about enjoying what you're doing and having a good time with it. Now, I've loved, making videos and like helping you guys trying to figure out like, this is what I'm doing to make money. And honestly, it's good to have something that you're passionate about. And whenever you lose that passion, and you do it because it's making you the money, then it kind of becomes a job. And I'm not against like people who do things that they hate because they need money to pay the bills. Like, I get it. I was broke for a very long time. My wife and I, we were kind of like always trying to cut to save and things like that. And then now it's kind of in like a different realm where we don't have to. Like, we can buy 2 orange juices a week now at the grocery store. We were not able to buy the 2 Tropicana no pulp juice before. Now we can do that comfortably. So I know we can buy the 36 eggs if we want. We don't have to buy just 12. We can buy more eggs. So I'm going to start putting money into Pokemon. I'm going to put some energy into the content. Follow me on TikTok. I may start putting it on Instagram. I'm not sure. I get tired of like cross posting to like, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok. Like, TikTok has, I think, the highest virality. I think there's a lot younger people. Excuse me. I think there's a lot more younger people on TikTok. So Pokemon actually would be a lot stronger there. But also, like, everybody's into Pokemon right now. Like, I'm an adult and I'm back into it because they re-released. They did the 151, and it's like, it's really hitting the nostalgia button on me, and I'm ready to catch them all. So if you guys want to follow along in my journey to catch all these Pokemon cards, to try to learn how I'm well, I don't even know. Like, I'm not going to teach you how to do this. Like, I'm not going to get into selling like hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of sealed product. Like, I'm not doing anything like that. What I'm doing is I'm going to build a collection, but I'm going to funnel out and I'm going to feed my collection like money wise by selling things on eBay. I do think eBay is a strong platform. Now, I definitely don't know if I'm going to do 1-day shipping. I have liked not shipping the past few months because I'm not selling anything right now. I'll probably do like 3-day shipping, maybe like twice a week is fine. Because I miss going to the post office. I do miss the workers at the post office, but having that like every day you need to ship, eventually it just kind of gets old. So I'm going to try to source video, and I also like video games too. I'm thinking about getting the new Switch. Well, the new Switch is coming out. When the new one comes out, I'm going to get the one that's been out. Hopefully it drops in price. And I'm going to get the new Pokemon game so that I can learn. Like, a lot of the new Pokemon, I don't even know the names. Like, I'm trying to learn them, but man, there's so many. There's over 1,000. It's a 1,025 Pokemon right now, I think. And that's a lot of Pokemon. So we're going to start trying to collect the one set, and then I may buy some other ones. If I find it at a good deal, I'm going to go for it. Like, really excited about finding collections and just seeing what people have. I think that's a great thing. So, like I said, if you want to join, if you want to follow along, let me know. Comment what your favorite Pokemon is. Let me know when you got into Pokemon, if you even care about it. Maybe you have other questions. I do think I may do some live streams about, like, I'm going to get a setup going, like a Pokemon setup. I don't know if it's going to be here at my house. We're currently, like, about to move to the new house, but I'm going to have a setup where maybe I can do a live and we can, like, talk Pokemon and open some packs, because I'd definitely be down to do that. So, appreciate you guys as always. I'll see you in the next one. Pokemon.